Yesterday we were talking about the imperfection or the corruptions of insight. Corruptions is because of that craving, that attachment that arises. So altogether there are 10, beginning with that brightness or light and joy and pleasant feelings and so on. And those components by themselves, they are not a defilement. In fact, that those things are helpful for the development of vipassana. It is because that a yogi craves for it, not mindful of it, get attached on it, then it becomes a corruption. It becomes a yogi gets stuck there. All these things, like peaceful mental state, quiet mental state, although they can be very helpful, but a lot of times yogi don't pay attention to their true nature. Then we get attached to it, and then you want this peaceful feeling or very calm state of mind again and again, retreat after retreat or sitting after sitting. And then when these are attached, if one is not careful, one thinks that one has progressed very far, thinks that one is better than other yogis, thinks that a lot of misunderstanding about the overestimate one's practice. So here the background, what happened is that the ego or the mana in the Pali has already arisen, and one does not aware of it. Then if one is not careful, one go into it further, then one becomes a wrong view, attached to it, believing that this calmness, this peacefulness is enlightenment, is jhana, is heavenly bliss, or whatsoever. So here the imperfection from 10, it becomes 30. And the worst thing is that they come out and share the wrong views. And we believe that this is the best view to others. But then if a yogi is mindful enough, not attached to it, as they arises, note them as they are. If you cannot note them, they are too peaceful or too calm, back again to the rising, falling, sitting, touching, because the body sensation is always, in a way, a safe objects. A lot of times when you are doing your meditation, in now or in the future, sometimes when you want to talk, we want to note the mental states, the different mental states, but then we get into a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of you're not sure what to do, doubt comes in. If all these things come in, you put all these things aside, back again to rising, falling, sitting, touching, then everything will reset again. In this stage, as I said yesterday also, the yogi's mind are very powerful right now. Walking, sitting, and throughout the whole day, the mind is alert, clear, drowsiness and so on, overthinking, restless mind become very minimal, and throughout the whole day they can meditate. Because of that, the momentum of the yogis will keep on going, and actually it's quite smoothly. Although you may feel a little bit of tired, but then it doesn't affect the noting mind. The bodily tired, but it doesn't affect the noting mind. Now here, because of that sharpness, when the yogi comes back to all these objects, now this is where the third characteristic of an object begins to manifest itself more clearly than before, and that one is the arising and passing away moment after moment. Yesterday I mentioned about objects are like as if like it stays there, it comes, it goes, then again another object, it comes, it goes, sometimes in quite a fast manner from one object to another object. But this time, because of the mind can progress a little bit further, here the third characteristic of universal characteristic of arising and passing away, moment after moment, is being appeared all over the body or mind. Together with this arising and passing away, and all this further on, the things that we're going to mention, is where it truly lies the anicca, dukkha, and anatta. All this perception, all this characteristic of this anicca, dukkha, anatta, how you view all these things, everything is based on this arising and passing away. So yesterday also I mentioned, when a yogi can able to differentiate what is not the path, which is all the corruptions of insight, and what is the path, then the yogi knows how to watch or how to notice this moment of arising and passing away. So when you're able to differentiate those things, then the next purification starts to take place. Then it's called purification of the way or of the path. Here is where the noting of this arising and passing away moment after moment, and this arising and passing away moment after moment is where you truly all the concept, ideas cannot stick with the arising and passing away. When you notice this arising and passing away moment after moment, and they are fast, they are not slow. In less than a second, they already gone, arise and passes away. Imagine that you sit there for 1 hour, 3,600 seconds, then 3,600 arising and passing away. So the mind can go so fast. It's like all this noting mind they know how to do all the noting without I that's going to involve into it. The mind just know how to pick up from how it arises, pass away, and it sees the whole thing through. You don't even know whether you are noting the mind or the body, because universal characteristic and everything just arises and passes away. So here it's perfectly alright, whichever object that you take up, because the moment that you put the mind there, attention there, everything just arising and passing away. Even sometimes when you come into the interview, sometimes you report that you're rising, falling, let's say, it moves like, for example, half a circle, perhaps, then after that, you notice that it's kind of like a zigzag. That is, although you notice this thing, you're truly observing, but actually, concept is still there. Sometimes, let's say, just this is an example. If you'll notice a rising, let's say a rising is half a circle. What you notice actually is that something is happening in the beginning, or another sensation was happening in the middle, slightly at the side, and then the last one happening kind of like in front again. So the mind will make it up that is as if it's half a circle, but actually what is noting is 3 different points. But when you notice this thing at this time, it is perfectly okay. Don't worry about the concept so much. It shows you like half a circle, you report it as half a circle. If you report you zigzag here and there, you report it zigzag there. But when you come to the arising and passing away, this concept it's totally gone, and all this arising and passing away, the breathing is at the background, but the arising and passing away is right at the foreground. When these things happen on reality side, what I've seen also in the past, like sometimes yogis, when they reach this arising and passing away, and they go into the interview to report, then the teacher says, you're noting everything wrong. Go back to just rising and falling. I've seen these things quite a number of times when the yogi are actually progressing, but unfortunately, when the teachers are not experienced enough, when the teachers are not experienced enough, the teachers haven't seen this arising and passing away. A lot of times, you may think that the yogis is reporting nonsense. Then this time, it becomes a very big conflict for the yogi especially, You are taught to follow the instruction of the teacher. Now you are experience all these things. Every time you sit down, without you thinking about it, it comes on its own. You see it on its own. But when you go to reporting, the teacher says wrong. So I met once in a while, I met this type of yogis. They go to places to meditate. They could have good progress, but unfortunately, it keep being blocked. Their progress is being blocked by this type of scenario. So there's a lot of things in this vipassana. As we go into it further, then the experience from what you practice, especially with arising and passing away, and comparatively to what is in the beginning of a practice, can be a big difference. Now, even this arising and passing away during this time, moment to moment arising and passing away, you don't even have time to think about what you are looking at also. The moment you start a small little thinking, even a labeling, that whole process stops. So, therefore, you see, when a yogi knows how to put all the labeling aside, everything you put aside, and squarely and fully just noting, the process of arising and passing away will keep going and going and going. When you see this arising and passing away, moment after moment, at this time, as it progresses, here in the text, in the commentary, it mentioned it as the knowledge of arising and passing away, the fourth knowledge of arising and passing away. Here the commentary, when you talk about it as the name of arising and passing away, the knowledge of arising and passing away is because what the yogis are actually looking at arising and passing away. But it's because of this arising and passing away, then the deep perception, the true anicca, also comes together with this arising and passing away. Here the word, the definition of anicca is when it arises, it's already gone. This is what the definition in Abhidhamma. Sometimes people read Abhidhamma, wow, anicca, the moment it arises, gone. Wow, you can't figure it out. Why is it called like that until you reach to that stage to truly see it that actually happening in this mind and body. There's the moment it arises, the moment it disappears. So this is one aspect of anicca that a yogi is going through, and this arising and passing away, it will show the different yogis in different patterns. So sometimes yogi experience it like in a stream of arising and passing away. Sometimes the arising and passing away happen in like one spot, but it arises and passes away. Or sometimes the arising and passing away comes in multiple area or multiple, as if like it's not in the same spot, it's jumping here and there. So the whole principle is that they still notice the arising and passing away, and at the same time they also have the perception of anicca is coming in. When we say this anicca or impermanence, one is the characteristic of an impermanent, the other one is the perception of impermanence. Now, because you see this arising and passing away, it's characteristic that it arise and pass away, arise and pass away, and this one, it shows you the characteristic of the impermanent. But what the mind feels, when the mind covers it, or the mind take notes of the whole thing, then the perception of anicca is there. It's not thinking. This anicca is how you see it, because it's that. Then we perceive it as anicca, not you think of it as anicca. So sometimes yogis have a thinking, if I don't think of it anicca, how do I know that it's anicca? So when you go into the deeper aspect, there's no thinking of it. It's just only the mind fully observe the whole thing. Normally, when we talk about this anicca, dukkha, or anatta, it is according to this one, but it also as important to talk about what is being purified because of this anicca, dukkha, anatta. And that purification also is as equally as important as what you're paying attention. We use the word anicca, impermanent, here as opposed to the word of nicca, permanent. Now, while you are noticing this arising and passing away moment after moment, while it's looking at it in such a way, behind the mind, the perception or the wrong perception of nicca, or the wrong perception of permanence, is being removed at that moment. But you don't see how it's removed because only you see this reality. Now, it's because of this perception, the wrong perception of permanence, that when this wrong perception of permanence, not talking about meditation right now, let's talk about everyday things or samsaric things, that when you have this perception, wrong perception of permanence, we are holding it without realizing it, then it produces wrong thinking. We don't see this thing as wrong because we don't see anything that is right, and therefore that thing, whatever is wrong, it seems normal or right. So from this wrong perception of nicca, then it comes to the thinking of permanence, and therefore from that thinking it goes into wrong view of permanence. And that understanding of permanence is where it is locked into our whole psyche. From one lifetime it carries to another lifetime. What do you take as permanent? When you die, permanent existence, happy ever after. Or when you do something wrong, you're born in hell, suffering ever after. Or an idea of a soul that is existing permanently without change. Even right in the Buddhism itself, the inside Buddhism, there are people believe that the Buddha still exists permanently in some happy land or some quantum realm or some land and so on. And therefore, this idea of permanence is so easy for mass of people to get attached to it, because it's so, it feels normal, it feels okay, it feels right, because we don't see anything that is alternative from it. That's why sometimes this type of impermanence, when you go into it deeper, it changes a lot of how we perceive the world out there. And because of that, sometimes because you could see all these things as you develop, sometimes you feel like you're out of the social norms. And together with that permanence, it also comes as blissful as opposed to dukkha. So here, the idea of bliss and permanence, both of them come together. This is where the perception of arising and passing away begins to break down all this perception. And it's because of one can able to see this arising and passing away. The right perception is because you see the reality as they really are, and then this perception is changing slowly the wrong perception. Therefore, when the right perception arises, therefore the right thinking arises, therefore the right view arises. When these things happen, a lot of times, you don't have to think about it when it happens. This is during the Dhamma talk, I just add in a bit. But while you are noticing, it's just make sure you're just noticing the arising and passing away. Don't worry about whether this is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Just observe. Now, as the yogi keep on practicing, again and again, he sees this arising and passing away. Now, as it goes further into the development, it begins to see arising and passing away, but this time at the ending of an object. You know that beginning, middle, ending? Now this beginning, middle, ending, but now the ending is clearer, the second characteristic, but together with the third characteristic, it comes in as when we see this ending, the ending is arising and passing away. When you see the deeper development of this anicca, dukkha, anatta, a lot of times you're going to see the ending process of an object rather than the beginning or the middle. Now the second characteristic of beginning, middle, and ending, and the third characteristic, they merge together. A lot of times when the yogi was meditating, they could not see how the beginning is starting or how the middle is there. Every time only when they notice that when the object want to disappear, then this arising and passing away become very clear. And then sometimes yogis may feel that something wrong with their practice, because in the past I could see so many things, everything is so clear to me, but now beginning or middle I couldn't see anything much, only the ending is there. Is there something wrong with my practice, or is it my mindfulness not sharp enough? Now, all these things is because yogis are not familiar with all these things. As I said many times in the retreat, that when we go forward into this practice, a lot of time is beyond your logic. So you have to trust your mindfulness. As it shows it to you in this way, you see it in this way. You heard of momentary concentration, khanika samadhi? When it comes into practice, this vipassana, one of the things is that usually I don't talk about in the beginning is this concentration. When you use the word momentary concentration, what it means over here is that let's not talk about concentration. Let's not talk about momentary concentration. Let's talk about concentration first. When you use the word concentration, or the Pali word is ekagata, or here sometimes you use the word samadhi, what it means is that the concentration is holding everything together. What does it hold? It holds that mindfulness, it holds that effort, it holds the wisdom, it holds everything, so that that state of mind works or centered it on the that particular object. It's like, like you use a string or a rope, you tie a bunch of stick together. So this is what it means by a concentration. It holds a number of mental factors together. Here, when everything is held together, therefore the mind doesn't get distracted into a lot of other things. It's different from mindfulness. Mindfulness is to put the mind near to an object, whereas concentration is hold the whole thing together. The wisdom mind is to discern the object. What is the object? What is the characteristic of those objects? The mental effort here is to make everything active so that all of them can do their function. In a simple samatha practice, all you need to do is that you hold to a single object, everything goes together with the object. But in vipassana, we don't do in a single object, but we do in a multiple object as the object becomes dominant. Just now I mentioned a number of these characteristics as it holds together. All these things is the noting mind. So let's say you observe a sensation, a pulling sensation. During this time, your mind is totally there, noticing the whole sensation. And you know during that time when observing it, the mind is not distracted to other objects or other thinking or the mind wanders off. Or even like when it goes to another object, the mind able to follow through and also still able to notice what is going on there. So now we come to the momentary concentration. Momentary concentration, it means that when you're noticing the sensation there, the mind stays with it. So, but the mind, when you change to the next object, this state of mind also disappear. The new noting mind is already coming to the take part with the new object. Or even like, give you another example. For example, another example is like the lifting, pushing, dropping. The moment you start noticing the lifting up, consider that as one noting mind. When it comes into the pushing, it's a new noting mind already. When you drop and you feel the sensation, is a new noting mind. You could do all these things without the mind get distracted because the concentration holds everything together. But then in the beginning of the practice, we don't see how the mind disappears. We only follow the object of lifting, pushing, dropping. So the momentariness of that concentration, you don't really see it in the beginning part. The concentration is already there by default because of the mindfulness. The more that you're mindful, the more that you're present of what is happening in your practice, concentration comes together with it by default, and it's a balanced concentration. So in the beginning part, when we talk about momentary concentration, it's a bit difficult for a lot of yogis to understand until you come to the aspect of arising and passing away. Then the momentariness of the concentration becomes clearer. You see, we come back to that arising and passing away as it ends, and you can see this arising and passing away, and the ending become very clear, but the beginning, middle, not so clear. This time, that sometimes some yogis are able to notice that the arising and passing away of this bodily sensation also pass away, and also they notice that the arising and passing away of the mind is ceasing together as the object of the body disappear. So both of them are completely disappear. When the new one comes in, everything starts anew. A little bit technical, but because this type of things, once in a while you may hear this in the Vipassana retreat. You don't understand it too much, it's not a problem actually. Finally, everything comes back if that you must know how to exactly do your practice. So, therefore, you see these objects and the mind disappearing together, and later part, when another object arises, a new noting mind also arises together with it. So therefore, that time, the understanding of why it's called momentary concentration, then one begin to realize that noting mind and that object comes together, pass away together, and then it comes together and pass away together again and again. In this time when you are doing practice, you see a lot of changes, especially in the body, but the mind changes is more subtle. You don't see that how it changed together with the object. With that also, the perception as it keep on disappearing, this again is another perspective of impermanence, another perspective of anicca. So when we say what is anicca, anicca is not just a single perspective. There are different ways of how we can look at anicca. Sometimes yogis mistaken. When they are a bit of practice, they see a little bit of changes here and there. They think that, or they believe that they've seen all the anicca is there. Now, after this, with this perspective of anicca, then the next part, as it progresses, this is where meditation is going to get difficult. As if like the meditation is not that difficult right now. Even right in the beginning is challenging already. But in a deeper aspect, there's another area of challenge when it's connected with dukkha. So you will see how far your faith and your confidence really want to push, how far you want to go. But when it comes to dukkha, every of your confidence, every of your power, your development is going to test you right to the limit to see whether you're going to pass or fail. A lot of times we think that, we sit here, the buttock pain here, here pain, there pain. Oh, Bante, I got so much pain. And then I see so much dukkha. When I tell them you're only seeing the surface of the dukkha, they feel so sad. Now, here, not to say that you don't notice dukkha, you still notice dukkha, but dukkha again, there's 3 different levels, and each different level also connected to different feelings. The one that you notice, all the pain, is connected to painful feelings. As we go into a bit deeper level, we see the dukkha that's connected to the pleasant feelings and also the dukkha connected to the neutral feelings. Of course, also in another perspective, you can call it especially connected to the neutral one, it connected to what we call sankhata dukkha or formation dukkha. Formation here means that the moment that object arises, you already feel the dukkha. Sometimes I tell you, is your rising falling dukkha? In the beginning of the practice, we don't feel that this rising falling is dukkha. It's actually that the moment the moment that you can find the rising and falling, you can follow the rising and falling, actually you're happy about it. You don't see this rising, falling, sitting, touching, all dukkha, because it's because you know how to do it. At this time you're feeling good about it, that the mind can see all these things, which is wonderful actually. Now in the beginning part of the development of the vipassana, it's where a lot of these painful feelings arises. That's connected to the pain here, the body, the neck, the sometimes arising with all kinds of anger, desire, and a lot of this one, whatever that is unpleasant, it arises, especially in the beginning of the practice. When you go into the towards that, when you see arising and passing away, here we talk about pleasant states of mind, tranquility, all these things. Actually, when you pay attention to them, when you actually see them, actually they are changing. Then during that time, there's a little bit of like, how come they are changing? That also, the feeling of dukkha is start coming in. Now, when we go deeper into the practice, is where all this dukkha is connected to the arising and passing away. Now, for example, like when you see this arising and passing away, or even right now when you can feel rising, falling, sitting, touching and everything, you find that as if like something very solid for you to hold, to able to notice, the walking, everything. You got some objects for you to hold on to. Even like later part, as you begin to see this arising and passing away, keep on going into destruction, disappearing, as if like all the objects that you hold on to doesn't give you any substance anymore, as if like they are nothing for you to hold, nothing for you to grab anymore. At that time, the kind of like unsatisfactoriness connected to the object begin to arise. Sometimes even like you notice this stomach motion arising and passing away. At the same time also, when you notice them also, as if like the whole stomach is being twisted. When you twist your clothing to rinse the water out, you twist it and then you twist it further to let the water drop, something like that in the stomach. So sometimes in the beginning we don't feel the dukkha aspect of it, but right now when things keep changing, when you notice it, sometimes the dukkha or the unpleasant dukkha arises together with that formation dukkha, and it comes in. It's so difficult for some yogis to bear up. So in other words, when you sit down or when you walk, it's just unpleasant. You still can sit, but it's so difficult to sit actually. They can feel so much dukkha that until that you feel every time you pay attention to your objects, every time you notice this arising and passing away, the whole mind is just feels so miserable. So, you feel like you want to vomit, as if like every day you eat the same thing again and again and again and again, and you just don't want to eat it anymore, or you don't want to pay attention to your meditation object. This period of when you go experience dukkha is not something short. Sometimes it can last for 1 retreat, 2 retreats or 3 retreats, depending on how attached to your life. The dukkha is opposed to anything that is beautiful, anything that is pleasant, and so on. The more you attach to all things that is pleasant, that means when it comes to a time of dukkha, you're going to see a lot of it. But because it needs to, the perception of dukkha, it needs to change the whole idea, the deep, strong perception of anything that is blissful, pleasant, and everything. And for that to change, for dukkha, it takes you a lot of effort. So sometimes some yogis, when they go through this thing, they feel like they just want to give up on meditation. They want you just to pack their bags and go. So sometimes you're going to go through a lot of this dukkha, and sometimes even your sitting also. Every now and then, every time you can sit 1 hour, but sometimes it's so difficult. Even like 45 minutes is a big struggle. It's not because of the buttock pain here and there. It's because that the heart that feels the dukkha, it makes the mind so difficult to settle. Now, a lot of times when I come to this teaching in Europe or even in US, people like the idea of anatta. But when it comes to dukkha, they don't want to talk anything about it. All these things, anatta, anicca, dukkha, anatta, is all blended together. You cannot separate. Just because you want to see anatta, you don't want to see the other two. Cannot. It all comes together. Make sure that all this time, if you go through, you have to trust yourself. You have to keep noticing. You have to keep going through all those difficulty, and especially it comes with the heart difficult. You feel you don't want to do the walking. You feel you don't want to do the sitting. You feel like you want to get out, but here, all these things you have to hold back and keep walking and keep sitting. Now, because you see so much of this dukkha in so many ways, in so many sittings and walking again and again, then it comes to a time that the mind truly wants to give up on this dukkha, and the mind at that time truly wants to get out from all this dukkha of this mind and body. During that time, only that time, it arises the true, genuine wish that you want to be free from the whole cycle of birth and rebirth. We will continue on this a little bit tomorrow, and how we, hopefully enlightenment.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.